I would like to call to order the June 20th, 2022 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners meeting. Welcome, everyone. We would like to start our meeting out with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are happy to have with us tonight Brother Richard Brown from West Cabarrus Church for our invocation.
If you would join me in prayer. Most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you tonight and we thank you for the opportunity to meet here to discuss the business of the County of Cabarrus. Lord, I pray for your wisdom, your comfort, your strength, and your peace for the decisions that need to be made today. And we thank you for each one present here tonight. And we just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Brown. We appreciate you being with us tonight. First up on our agenda is the approval or corrections of the minutes. You all have a copy of those before you. Do I hear any corrections to the minute? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes, and we move to approval of the agenda, which you also have a copy of that before you. Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting agenda, including the changes on page 39? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. We move now to recognitions and presentations. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Perry Gabriel for a proclamation for Park and Recreation Month.
Thank you. The National Recreation and Park Association theme for 2022 is We Rise Up. Whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Cabarrus County. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers promote health and wellness and improving the physical and mental health of people who utilize and live near parks and senior centers. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers promote time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression and attention deficit disorder. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers encourages physical activities by promoting space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers provide programming and educational activities such as sports, camps, and environmental education, which are critical to childhood development. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers increase the county's economic prosperity through increased property values, increased tourism, attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers are fundamental to the environmental well-being of the county. Whereas parks, recreation, and senior centers are essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our county resilient in the face of natural disasters and pandemics. And whereas parks, recreation, senior centers, and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our county and provide a place for our children and adults to connect with nature and outdoors. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month. And whereas local parks in North Carolina generated over $6 billion in economic activity and provided over 37,000 jobs, ranking North Carolina as 10th in the nation. And whereas Cabarrus County recognizes the benefits derived from parks, recreation, and senior centers, now therefore be it resolved that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim July 2022 as Park and Recreation Month in Cabarrus County.
Great. Thank you, Perry. Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do I hear a motion to approve as read?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just one quick question. Barry, on the next to the last whereas there, where he's talking, you're talking about $6 billion in economic activity and 37,000 jobs. Does that North Carolina ranking us 10th in the union?
Yes, sir.
10th in the country? Wow. That's applaudable in itself,
Definitely so.
in the country, not just North Carolina, but in the
Right.
country. That's very applaudable. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And now we are happy to call LONDA Strong and Perry Gabriel to the podium again for a recognition.
I think everything, all of those whereases that he read about all the things that go on, Perry's been involved in all of those in his 32.7 years of service with Cabarrus County. We go way back. He started right after college at Pfeiffer. He was there with Mr. Downs some of the few years, and we won't talk about those stories, but maybe he can, and by July 1 he can. Right now he can't, but Perry was hired originally as our athletic supervisor, and he did that for quite a few years, and then a job came open, and it was special programs, which were all the classes all around the county. That's when we did in all the schools, the park, I think we only had one then. And then he had an opportunity to leave and work in retail, and he did that for quite a few years. And luckily for us, the store that he was at decided to close, and we had an athletic job open again. So knowing better, we hired him back anyway. And he has done a wonderful job. He's been involved with so many people. You can say Perry Gabriel's name about any association, any church, any business, anywhere you are, and somebody there will know him, if not half the people. And then probably the majority of the people in here know him. And then when Randy Daniels retired and we did a little bit of revamping, Perry became the park program manager at Frank List Park, and he has done a fantastic job. I think he's enjoyed it as much as I have, because I sure got a lot fewer phone calls, I know that. But we're definitely going to miss him. I'm glad he's ready to go. Maybe that's not a good word. Maybe he's ready to leave us. I'm glad he knows he's ready to leave us. And we're definitely going to miss him, but hurrah and thank you. Go ahead, I'll give you a hug.
Someone asked me what I was going to do, and I said, I've had the privilege for 33 years, and I sincerely mean this, to watch kids catch their first fish at Frank List Park, to hit their first hole-in-one, hit their first home run, play on the swing with their grandmother or mother pushing them for the first time. I'm going to go out and fish, play some golf, and have some fun, and hopefully people will be able to watch me have as much fun as they had at the parks. But thank you to the commissioners for your support over the years. All the different departments that we worked with have made it easier for me to do my job, and I appreciate it. And I moved here to Cabarrus County in 1985 and haven't left, and I don't plan on leaving when I retire. But thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I think Commissioner Kiger has a presentation.
Thank you very much for all your time and efforts. I'm going to slightly repeat what Londa said. All of the whereases you personify, and especially the last one where it says we value our parks and recreation senior centers, and it's because of people like you and the time that they spend with our citizens and with the people that use the park. So while you're having fun fishing and hitting home runs, it sounds like you wanted to hit another home run, but at least you'll have a clock to be able to get up and make sure you get there on time. So you might not want to get there on time.
Doesn't have an alarm though, right?
Yeah, it does not have an alarm.
Okay, good.
So, but in all seriousness, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our paths crossed a long time ago with youth sports, and you might have been the very first county employee that I really interacted with, and it's been a lot with just your heart and what you gave to all the sports programs way back then, and then everything you've done. So on behalf of the county, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, before you go, can I just,
Know when he gets that hole in one.
well, I just want to add one quick thing. We had our senior advisory council meeting today, and when it was announced about your retirement and going, there was like, oh no, you know, so I mean, everybody's really sorry to see you go. So I just wanted you to know how much that group is going to miss you as well, so.
Great. Thank you so much for all you've done, Perry. It's been my privilege to serve with Perry on other committees like the Junior Crime Prevention Council. He was on there when I got there 10 years ago, so I know you were there for a long time and contributed in so many other ways. So thank you, and best wishes in your retirement. We move now to informal public comments. I have 2 of the yellow cards that have been turned in. I read the public participation policy at our last meeting, and I think you were both here, so I won't repeat that again. Our first card is Jerry Anderson.
I cut my hair.
I noticed.
People said I was mentally challenged because I talk about my granddaughter. I never lied to y'all, and I respect all y'all. I waved a paper up here that I thought my child was mishandled up here in the county, that she was a helpless child, and people waved it off as this being veteran paperwork, you know, for veteran purposes. But I thought I'd go a step further. I got the reasons that they called her a helpless child, and the evidence was from Social Security Administration, received April 1st, 2010, a Veterans Claim Assistance Act, May 4th, 2010, and another Social Security Administration disability records received May 14th, 2010. I don't want you to think I'm lying, but this is what they said. Child over 18 years of age must be shown to be permanently incapable of self-support by reason of mental and physical defect by the age of 18, which she was. I had a hard time with that child. The evidence established that Erica Anderson became permanently incapable of self-support prior to March 12, 2007 by reasons of physical or mental disability diagnosed as moderate type 2 bipolar disorder, post-traumatic disorder, and borderline personality disorder. And she'd later go on to have a schizophrenic diagnosis that she had to take monthly medicine. The information records show before the age of 18, Erica had to be reminded to maintain hygiene. She underwent both inpatient and outpatient mental health treatment, and I got her out at 18, my doing, because I love my family. She had a history of self-mutilation, which is so bad, and inability to control her anger. She received treatment for the listed disorders that I just mentioned. It was also noted the maximum grade attended was the 9th grade. She couldn't properly take care of herself, and couldn't perform any household chores, does not follow her instructions, and was not capable of holding any job. Yet still she was held responsible as a mother. When nobody knew that she raised that child, it was our family raising that child. And when I went to DSS, I told them it was about Erica trying to get her shots one time. My granddaughter was fine. No broken bones, no bruises, no neglect in school when they come and picked her up at my house. But July the 14th, 2016, DSS confirmed that. They said that she had lack of mental health treatment, wasn't following directions, and that's why they took Jada on, my granddaughter. And I told them that. And all they had to do, Tony, I appreciate Tony for giving me this over at the VA. He told me right fast, yes, you got a disabled daughter. You got a mentally helpless child. And why this is not evidence, why it wasn't taken into consideration, shame on Cabarrus County. Taking a child is one thing. Taking it wrongly is awful.
Okay, our next speaker is Jeter Anderson.
While we don't have problems with our parks and recreations, we got problems with our DSS. Did y'all see that on the news? Did y'all see how Karen Calhoun says she can't say the paperwork we use ain't exactly legal? That's what happened in 2016 to take my niece away. I've been said it, the state should take over our Cabarrus County DSS. This ain't right. From 2020, White admitted about illegal use of paperwork. This ain't like Cherokee. It's very much like Cherokee County, taking kids without oversight. And what you did to this helpless child, did y'all really do this to this helpless child? I'm not a helpless child. I'm not a helpless child, but my sister was a helpless child. She was incapacitated, and she wasn't an incapacitated adult. She was an incapacitated child that y'all treated as a competent adult. Got the parental paperwork right there. That child of her child is a military dependent. And if the county didn't know that she was a helpless child, why didn't you just ask your own member of the county, the Veteran Service Officer, Tony Miller, who's been very helpful and gave us this information? And all you had to do was ask him, and he would agree. He'd say, yes, this is most definitely a helpless child. Don't treat her like a competent adult. But Jay White did 3 times, and he hurt her. He hurt her real bad. She died. And I never seen my niece again, and none of my family got a chance to even get her. This is a heinous hate crime. This is the worst hate crime I've ever seen. Take a little black child, use illegal paperwork, abuse the mentally ill, and lock Mr. Anderson out. And treat this veteran like a joke. This is an attack on military veterans. What y'all did, what Cabarrus County did to his helpless child is an attack on military veterans. And while we don't have a problem with the parks and recreations, we got a problem with treating our veterans and their dependents. You know, she's a military dependent. That means she's a child. Over 18, you're not a dependent no more. And we just had Jay White. It was vicious. All he did was attack that girl and attack that girl over and over and over. Relentless. It was disgusting. I'm horrified by what I seen Mr. White do to this helpless child. And y'all still let him up here. Y'all let him at the school boards around other helpless children. That ain't right. When someone says something happened with a child, you don't put them around other children. You got to remove the problem. He don't need to do this to any other children. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our informal public comments, and we move now to our consent agenda. Of course, you all have a complete list of those, and those are all items that we have discussed at length at our work session 2 weeks ago. So at this time, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you. And we move now to new business. First up is the adoption of the fiscal year 23 budget. Of course, we discussed that at our work session 2 weeks ago and also conducted a public hearing. And so before we move to that item, I thought I would give the commissioners an opportunity to comment on the budget process. So if we can, we'll start with you, Commissioner Honeycutt.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. I would like to take just a minute to compliment County Manager Downs, Deputy County Manager Rodney Harris, and all of those who did such an excellent job on this year's budget. Since this will be my last county budget I will vote for, before ending my second term this year, I just want to thank everyone involved in the process for your incredible commitment and dedication to all the transparency and depth detail that you gave each of us to make sure that we have everything that we need to make a competent decision, as well as transparency to our citizens. For sure, this gives us all the information we need to approve this budget this evening. With the timeline of this budget, there has been more than enough time for each of us to get the answers to any questions we had prior to this evening. It's no wonder that this county celebrated 2 AAA ratings this year. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure to work with such a competent, committed, and dedicated staff. In addition, there's been opportunities for our citizens to engage in the process. Our county staff hosted a Budget 101 class to discuss how the budget is formulated and get any questions answered that they might have. In addition, on June 9th, we had a public hearing for those who wanted to speak on the budget. So again, transparency to our citizens has been concentrated outreach. As we know, the process starts in the fall for the staff. I think it's a very rigorous process. And then we begin with commissioners' talks in January. And during all those conversations on the budget and the additional budget work session, commissioners have had time to get answers to any questions or concerns we might have and express any recommendations that we have on tax rate and items in the budget. Also, during those meetings, we have heard no suggestions from commissioners to lower the tax rate this year, but to keep it consistent at 74 cents. I think it's fair to say that we would all like to lower the tax rate if at all possible, but with the needs of the county, we understand that in order to do that, not only can we not meet the future needs of this county and our citizens, but would require additional cuts to this budget. And as those 5 of us sitting up here know, we've already had to make some very difficult choices and required cuts to get to where we are tonight and keep our county on track for where we want to be. The budget we'll vote on tonight includes all suggestions and input from commissioners that were discussed in the multiple meetings that we had leading up to tonight. So that signals to me as commissioners, if we've all done our job by giving input and suggestions on the budget publicly, that this budget should pass unanimously. If not, somewhere along the way, those concerns that would cause someone not to vote for this budget were not voiced verbally in our meetings, which provides no opportunity for them to be resolved. So there again, that just shows what an awesome job the staff has done to get us to this point. Again, I just want to say what an honor and a pleasure it has been to work with our budget staffs over the last 8 years, and how appreciative I am for your conscientious job that you've done to keep this county on track financially, which is confirmed again by the 2 AAA ratings I mentioned earlier. This makes Cabarrus County one of only 10 counties out of 100 in North Carolina to obtain this honor. So I want to say congratulations again to County Manager Downs, Deputy County Rodney Harris, Rosh Katari, Yasina, and I never know if I get the name right, Panetta, okay, and Ellie Landrum, and all of the county staff for an incredible job. Thank you for time to speak on this item tonight, and please know how much you guys are appreciating the hard work that you've done. It does not go unnoticed.
Thank you. Commissioner Strang, did you have any comments to make?
The only comment I wanted to say, thank you again for the staff. The staff did a wonderful job. I heard a lot of feedback from the citizens that did attend the Cabarrus Budget 101. That was very good for citizens to hear a lot of that. I was very impressed with how detailed it was for the staff, or to the staff for the citizens. They also had an opportunity to tour the courthouse a little bit afterwards, which they really appreciated. So I think overall that was really good. And I think we need to continue that going forward to allow citizens to come in and listen to the tax budget, listen to them, allow them to listen what the problems are, not the problems, but what the struggles are in the county trying to fund everything. Well, I wish we could lower the tax rate. I know we can't. But other than that, I think the staff, again, thank you, Mike and Rodney and Raj, as well as the staff that put on the workshop. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioner SHUE.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't say much more than what Commissioner Honeycutt and Commissioner Strang has already said without being redundant. But I just wanted to say, though, because of good management, because of good stewardship, we've been able to accomplish a lot of things. I think I might have mentioned it last time that we were together. This is one group of commissioners in 200 years that's been part of building a new courthouse. So we won't be building any more courthouses anytime soon. That's $100+ million there. And then, of course, we're building the new emergency management center out at Cabarrus Avenue. We won't be building another one of those anytime soon. And so when you look at these big ticket expenses and yet balance the budget and have the revenue to take care of our employees, which is the heartbeat of the county, to make sure that they're taken care of, I think it's another year, County Manager Downs, that you have done an excellent job, you and your staff. And, you know, it takes revenue to do these things. And I'm just like everyone else. Commissioner Strang mentioned it, and Commissioner Honeycutt did as well. We would all love to see a lower tax rate. And it might come to a point sometime in the future that we might be able to do a lower tax rate. But for right now, we've got these big ticket expenses, the county growing like it is, the need for schools and other infrastructure has just caused us to have the need. So anyway, you know, these hopefully will be going away when we get done with them, and there won't be no more big ticket items anytime soon, I hope. So with all that, I appreciate everybody. Thank you, commissioners, for working on this budget. And, you know, and so I think we're going to do just fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kiger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and yes, I will echo what we've heard as thanks to the staff. As Commissioner Honeycutt mentioned, it starts in the fall, and that's October. And sometimes, I know when I first got here, it was hard for me to grasp that from October, it would start in October, that they would start having discussions about the next year's budget. But it does, it takes that long, and it takes a lot of going through to get it and get it correctly. And I think this board has done that. This county is on a tremendously good financial footing, and that I think the thanks for that is spread wide and far. Both this board and the staff working together in I guess the way I've always liked to say things is pulling the wagon in the same direction, so that if staff and the board are not on the same page, it would be a much more arduous task to get this document together. So as Commissioner Honeycutt mentioned, this was her, I guess, 8th and last budget. This is my 6th and last budget. So sometimes it's hard for me to believe that there's been 6 budgets that I've sat here with. But County Manager, fantastic job. It's a balancing act between the needs of the departments and the people that get up every day and do their jobs versus the taxpayer that has to fund it. And I can say for me personally and this board, we have never, ever forgotten that it's not our money. It is the taxpayer money, and we remember that every single time that we do any of these projects and we put this budget together. But in short, I am supporting the budget and will be voting yes, and I appreciate all the hard work that everyone put in putting it together.
Great. Thank you, sir. County Manager, do you have anything you wanted to add before we move on?
No, other than thank you to the board and thank you to each one of you for recognizing the staff. They're all-stars, and the two right here with Rodney and Raj, as well as Yesenia and Ellie. Those were the ones that were doing and living this every day. But there was 20 to 25 department heads out there that started back in October and started looking internal at their operations, and not only were they, and they were the ones looking, but the other 1,300 employees were the ones answering those questions and defending what they had spent and what they were proposing for the next year. So it truly is a team project, and the team captains are sitting right over there. They were the ones that steered it along the way, and as you see, it came back with superior results.
Great. Thank you. That doesn't leave a lot for me to say other than ditto. I think all of you did an excellent job of pointing out the budget process and the wonderful guidance and assistance that we have from staff. Their patience with the questions that we ask is always impressive. As I have mentioned before, if you take this budget book, which has been by my side quite a bit in recent months, there are very few questions about the county that cannot be answered in that book, both from the narrative as well as the expense side, which really tells the story about the services that we provide and the projects that we are involved in, and it makes me extremely proud to be a part of everything that's going on in Cabarrus County. So thank you again to all of you. I will mention before we move to a motion that the motion that we make to approve this budget will include a number of county funds. We will be approving the general fund, the community investment fund, the arena and event center fund, the landfill fund, 911 emergency telephone fund, social services fund, the intergovernmental fund, health and dental insurance fund, workman's compensation and liability fund, and we will also be including all of our fire tax districts are included in that, and those rates, along with the county tax rate, as we've mentioned. And then we will also be approving authorized positions that are allowed for in this budget. So it covers quite a bit of ground in a very small motion. But with all that being said, at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt the budget ordinance for fiscal year 23, including all the funds that I just mentioned.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there additional discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes unanimously. We will move now to item G2 from Finance, and that is a budget amendment for debt refunding of limited obligation bonds 2022A. And we welcome Wendy Hagler.
Good evening. As you know, we've been going through the debt process to end our first draw program and make that permanent debt. And we were able to sell those bonds May 18th successfully, and with the all-in interest rate of 3.86%. And this budget amendment is the last step in that to budget the money coming in, and then as it also goes out to pay off that original draw program and the debt issuance cost. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, questions for Wendy, commissioners? Okay, hearing no questions, I would entertain a motion to adopt the budget amendment as presented.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you. Next up, from Infrastructure and Asset Management, purchase of courtroom pews. And we're happy to have Kyle Bilfer to talk with us about that item.
Good evening. This item is very much akin to items you've heard in the past from EMS about their immersion room equipment, and also from the Sheriff's Department on their bomb disposal equipment. So what Infrastructure and Asset Management is looking for is sole source acceptance to purchase courtroom pews from Sauter Courtroom Furniture. And it's to the tune of about 2,124 linear feet of cherry pews that will match the millwork stain used throughout the rest of the courtrooms. The total cost of the pews with materials, delivery, installation is $307,375.51, and that does include tax. So these pews, again, as I said, will be purchased through a sole source vendor, and per general statute 143-129, subsection E, part 6, the local government units are exempt from the competitive bidding requirements when a certain condition is applicable. In this case, the applicable condition is that the standardization or compatibility is the overriding consideration. So to give you an idea, this is over 129 benches, and there will actually be about 208 splices, which means the actual portions where the 8-foot benches go together. And it'll all be stained to match exactly what the stain is that we have throughout the courtrooms. In fact, I'm having that shipped from Raleigh to be able to match that. So it's custom-built pews. There are 10 different types of shapes and sizes you can get, but this is custom-built to fit into our courtrooms and spliced together so that they can basically carry it in the building, since it can only get in 8-foot sections to get it on the elevators. So I'm looking for the board to vote and allow the sole source exemption purchase and authorize the county manager to execute the purchase order agreement with the review of our procurement manager.
Okay, commissioners, questions for Mr. Billefer?
What is the time frame, the turnaround on these, and how soon do you anticipate installing these?
28 weeks, and I'm pushing it. That's why I'm here.
Okay, any other questions or discussion?
And that is probably to comment more on the materials than it is anything else. And that's, you know, I've been in front of you for steel packages and everything you could imagine, and it's gotten all the way down to furniture and wood. So that's just where we're
In today's
headed.
environment, that's pretty good delivery date, I would say.
Compared to the concrete pipe, it's 41 weeks, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, any other discussion? If hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve these sole source exception purchase and authorize the county manager to execute the purchase order between Cabarrus County and Sauter Courtroom Furniture per review of the procurement manager. Okay, we have a motion and 2 seconds. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just one quick question for you, Kyle. On the invoice for this,
Yes, sir.
it's got us down for, like, the tax on this is $20,000. Will we be able to get that back?
I'll call Wendy back up, but yes, we do get the tax back.
So will that is that going to bring it from 307 down to 287?
No, we pay the full amount, and then we're reimbursed a portion, if not all the tax. And she can explain that if she needs to go in depth. But yes, we pay, and this is just a general comment to all my vendors listening, we pay the taxes and then we receive those back.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that is all the new business for tonight. We move now to reports, and first we will receive updates from commission members who serve as liaisons to municipalities or on various boards or committees. Yes, ma'am.
I have been provided some announcements from the senior center. As I said, we had today's meeting, and they wanted me to announce that Zumba Fit is being offered at the Frank List Park Amphitheater. First class is July 7th. If you've always wanted to do watercolor art, that class begins July the 11th at Concord Senior Center. Archery for seniors is back on July 22nd at beginning, as far as the beginning date, at 10 a.m. at Camp Spencer. There will be a beach party July 27th celebrating National Park and Recreation Month at the Home Builder Shelter at Frank List Park. That begins at 10 with fun and paddle boat races. Friday dances will continue at the Senior Center with an addition of a fourth Friday dance. And you can register for all or any of these events and other various programs by calling the Active Living and Parks Department at 920-3484. So take the opportunity and enjoy some of the activities where you can get out of the house with all the COVID that's been going on. So hope some of you will find that opportunity pleasing.
Great. Thank you. Any other announcements?
I just have one announcement from the town of Midland. Their 4th of July event will take place July 2nd. It's fireworks in Rob Walter Park, and the fireworks will begin at 10 o'clock. Parking is somewhat limited, so I would get there a little bit early, because once that parking lot is full, they will not let anybody else in for safety reasons.
Great, thank you.
And there are numerous 4th of July celebrations going on. The Town of Harrisburg's event is the 3rd and the 4th with National Recording Artist Parmalee at the Harrisburg Park and Amphitheater. So, also, thank you to Active Living in Parks. As you can imagine, for summertime, lots going on. The pool at Camp Spencer is open. The slots are limited, so check the ALP website to register and ensure there are vacant slots when you want to attend. Frank List Park was closed for part of 2 days last week due to the main water line being cut by the vendor updating the power lines. We apologize for any inconvenience it may have caused. Lights have been installed at 3 parking lots, the Barnhart Hartzell lot, Lake Road lot, and the Philip Morris lot. Summer camp began last week. Current registrations have between 80 and 100 campers each week. Camp is being held at J. N. Freese Middle School. Plans are to be in the new barn at Frank List Park in 2023. That will be very exciting. Upcoming activities: archery camp at Camp Spencer Park, July trails and tails at Rob Wallace Park, and Water Wars at Camp Spencer Park. So those all 3 sound very exciting to me. So maybe I'll go to one or more of those. So Active Living in Parks, we have, as we talked about earlier, we have a great department that does a lot for the citizens of this county, and hopefully the citizens will be able to get out and check some of these things out.
Thank you.
Just real briefly, Mr. Chairman, on the Water and Sewer Authority, as I think I reported to you last month, we broke ground for the expansion project in March, and it's well underway to increase the capacity at the water and sewer plant. So everyone just will make sure you all know that we're working on that.
Great, thank you.
I just wanted to congratulate everyone who had a part of bringing Eli Lilly here, and the groundbreaking was last week, and I see Paige and Sam in the audience. What a wonderful opportunity for our county. And I want to just say that the statistical data that you guys had in your report, that in the last 25 years, there's been $38.5 million investment from the county with a return of $252 million. And this is just another great opportunity for us to increase that number and the amount of money that comes in that helps us keep the taxes as low as we can. So thank you, ladies, for what you did to make that possible, and we look forward to a great relationship with them as they come to this county.
Okay, any other announcements? If not, I will mention that we have a number of vacancies on various boards and committees. You can find a list of those on our website, or you can contact the county office if you have questions about any of those, but we always encourage folks to get involved and to serve on those committees. So now we will go to general comments by board members, if anybody has anything else. If not, we do have need of a closed session tonight. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, A, 3, 4, and 5.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And we are now in closed session, and we thank everyone for joining us tonight.